Hello and welcome, and we're here at Holistic Investments, and I'm your host, Konstantin Kogan, and I'm delighted to have today Chinka Gupta, who is the CEO and founder of ArcadeNetwork. Hi, Chinka.
Hey, hi, Konstantin. How are you?
Amazing. It's really good to have you here with us. And full disclosure, we are investors in ArcadeNetwork. So I'm a little bit biased, even though I really love the projects and I want people to know about their amazing technology. But I I think it's fair for people to know that we have some different interests as well. But besides that, we really I personally think that the vision behind the project is amazing, and the history that Chinka brought and her team to life is really forward thinking. So we're going to discover that today. But before, traditionally, I just want to throw a legal disclaimer that this content is from informational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or any other advice. So now we can talk about ArcadeNetwork. So listen, I would be able to sell your amazing projects as the world first metaverse money market, or the way you position it, the way ability to exchange game assets and connect the metaverses on a next layer. But I want you to first tell us a little bit about yourself. You have a pretty impressive career. You've been in one of the from four big four companies. You've been in three: KPMG, PwC, and Accenture. And I just want to hear your personal story. How did you even get to crypto, and why did you decide to found ArcadeNetwork?
Sure. All right. Yes, I started off, with Accenture as my first company, and then I moved to these big fours, and so these are the ones which are the primary ones. But then I happen to work with some other clients as well. Now, when I started working, I pretty soon, like almost in 2015, I could get a chance to work with blockchain capabilities of these companies. And when I say blockchain capabilities, it was more of enterprise blockchain. And I have extensively worked with government of India and that's where I belong from. And there had been major projects. These government clients are kind of building, they're kind of experimenting with blockchain, and I happen to be one of the blockchain specialists at the time, which could actually see and put in some value in these government projects. So I think in it's almost more than 7 years I had been working with the blockchain space. So pretty much all the blockchain platforms out there, including Ethereum, Quorum, Hyperledger, even Ripple. I have got, so my journey starts off as a developer. I started off as a developer. I know the implementational stuff of how these blockchains work, and then eventually moved to consulting and, to more functional roles. And so eventually, almost, a couple of years back, so almost 2 years back, I happened to get more towards public blockchain, where I feel the crypto industry majorly sits. So that's where I realized that it's whole together a different world. Now I do not want to be I don't want to just throw in anything, but to me personally, it was kind of different. Blockchain as a technology was started to basically cater financial needs, and I was kind of fascinated with this fact of cryptocurrency. And therein there was something in my mind that I just wanted to bring in. Having worked in these companies, I could see that different clients are working with blockchain, and it was for the namesake. So the reason, I had consulted these clients, and I know that, they just wanted to bring in blockchain, for the trend thing. I think therein, I could see that the real potential of blockchain basically is lying in the cryptocurrency, wherein when you can actually create digital assets and move across, and you're decreasing time, you're decreasing cost, basically operational cost, bringing in some value basically. And that's why, a technology basically grows when it can eases the process. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of fascinated me. And gaming being such an industry which is like, um, which is unaffected by caste, creed, your sex, or your age. Everybody play games. And when you are mixing blockchain in gaming, the enormous amount of opportunities and values that you are actually creating, that is like astonishing. So that's where I kind of was fascinated with blockchain gaming. And that's when I wanted to start something in gaming. To be honest, I do not have a gaming background. I'm not a gamer. But then eventually I started off my secondary research. I started off reaching out to different gamers and even game developers. So we even reached out to one of the good name in gaming society, which is Richard Garriott. We kind of took feedbacks, and we could actually boil down to the main pain points of gaming industry, which are basically the gamers have no ownership of their assets. And that's where we wanted that, that there's a technology out there which is like blockchain. Even the concept of NFTs in blockchain has been tremendously, it had been creating value. So why don't you use NFTs and create something which, wherein you are decoupling these assets from the games, and giving these assets, entirely to the gamers, and they can just literally take their assets across the games. So that was our vision. And yes, eventually we wanted to start off with this thing, and then considering how we can actually come out with something, we actually started off with this cross metaverse bridge. So basically, Arcade Network, I would call it, we should have named it as Meta Network rather, which is like connecting the metaverses. And that's like, the entire story of how things actually boil down to Arcade Network.
It's interesting because I'm actually coming from a gaming background. I was a gamer when I used to be a kid, like an avid gamer. I started like off from Game Boy and then Super Nintendo, Sega Mega Drive, and PlayStation, so I've tried it all. And I understand the mentality of people. To be frank with you, I actually felt that I wasted a lot of hours of my life. And then obviously when I started working, I didn't have time to play, I had family, everything. But now investing in games, coming back to this world, I actually understand the need. And you're totally right. Users who were playing games before, they supported the game by just buying a cartridge or a CD or any in-game assets like gold or arms, but they didn't actually own any assets, meaning equity or tokens of the project. So you're essentially building a protocol, right, that will help to connect metaverses together. So maybe you can expand a little bit on this, and explain in layman terms, how would that actually work?
Sure. So I think it's very similar to how banks work. So, when let's say, I want to transfer you some funds from my bank to your bank, I being sitting in one part of the world, you are in some other part of the world, and the banks are different. But then also, my bank can literally do that, can transfer these funds, because, these banks use this protocol, which is SWIFT protocol. And so, right, like almost 99% of the banks in the world, they make use of SWIFT protocol. So all they do is they have plugged in SWIFT APIs, using which they have come to SWIFT standards, and then they can talk to each other. They can talk to other banks. So something similar is what we are doing with the metaverses. So basically, these metaverses are going to plug in our APIs. They come to our standards, and then they can actually talk to other metaverses. So that's how the product can be explained in the most layman terms.
So let's dig into it, because this is an exceptional. I agree that goes beyond. This is I would say that's a layer 2 of metaverses. So you're connecting them in different ecosystems to make sure that there's not only one siloed community, let's say 1 million people that is playing a particular game, you're expanding it to different communities. So, but let's talk about the practicality. You mentioned one interesting example that, let's imagine I bought M16, gun in Counter-Strike, as you mentioned, right? And then I want to reuse it in, let's say, Call of Duty. I wouldn't say criticism, but I would say like my challenge would be here, like, what if the Call of Duty doesn't have the same in-game asset? So how would I be able to even reproduce it? Like, how I'll be able to use it? That's number one. Number two, the way I think that there's another way to do that, correct me if I'm wrong. You can also, if there is a demand, as a second alternative, you can sell before, like, instead of just transferring, you can also sell your asset, and that's how you can also redeem if you feel that the game might not go well, or you want to just cash out, whatever you want to do, or you can lend it. So can explain us different scenarios, how would that work?
Okay, so coming to your first question, which is more of like a compatibility question, which so your question is, if Counter-Strike doesn't have a particular sort of gun which Call of Duty has,
yes,
how is that gun gonna be supported there in Counter-Strike? So I mean, eventually, as I mentioned, this is something which is a huge product. So yes, we these had been the basic questions which came to our mind also when we kind of were starting. So the idea is that we are, and another challenge to it is that the graphics might differ,
exactly,
in both.
same.
Yeah. So the point is that we, ArcadeNetwork is not, which it could be in a later stage that we would be coming out with something, but the point is that ArcadeNetwork is not touching the graphics, or is not actually diving deeper into the asset graphics, or the asset characteristics. All we are doing is basically doing a mapping of a gun which is there in Counter-Strike to a gun which is there in Call of Duty. And when a gamer wants to take this gun from Counter-Strike to Call of Duty, there are even gonna be attributes and strengths and power changes, because eventually the attributes are going to differ in a different game, the power, strength, and everything, that will differ. So what we are doing is we are a middleware which is basically a compatibility middleware, or I would call ourselves a compatibility bridge, wherein we are mapping these assets, we are bringing it down to the default values. So for example, if you are taking this gun from Counter-Strike to Call of Duty, Call of Duty has these default values fixed, that hey, if you guys are bringing some gun to my game from any other game, I have these default values which should be which should be matched in, or which should be given to an asset, and then only they would be usable in my game. So that mapping of the things is what we are doing, or is what the bridge is going to do. And just to mention it here, we just reached out to the gaming world. So right now we are like limited, or we are just playing around or doing it with the metaverse world. But yes, eventually this is what our aim is, to reach to the gaming world, to actually go out of the non-crypto world as well, and to reach out to go out of the crypto world as well, and to reach the gaming world.
So yeah, so this is already a different level. That's why I'm trying to get to the nitty-gritty, because it's not that easy to imagine. There's a lot of, as you mentioned, there is graphics, the resolution problem, there are other attributes of the game. Sometimes, let's say, heavier weapon, that's what I remember, like the heavier weapon actually slows down you when you move, and vice versa. I remember people used to create strategy that if you run with a knife, and then if you go into combat level, then you pick up your sniper rifle or any other shotgun or anything. So that will require a lot of interesting logic, but you already thought through it. Okay, so this is first level. Let's go even deeper, right? So on the technological level, and what are the concerns or limitations that you see right now, and what do you think is missing in the blockchain infrastructure, for you to be successful?
Okay, so considering what we are building right now, which is like a metaverse bridge or a metaverse compatibility provider, I think the challenge is that these metaverses which are built. So okay, I mean the tech team. I'm like, it could be your next question. I'm answering it beforehand. So the tech team, that there are teammates who have already worked with the building of some of the metaverses, and
Mm-hmm.
they understand how the metaverses are built. So the challenges that we saw was basically these metaverses are not following the standard. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
eventually these gaming assets are the NFTs, and you have like ERC 721 or ERC 1155. So these are like the
Different
standards which you are
standards.
following. Yeah, these are defined standards which you're following for the assets in the metaverses. But the way these metaverses are built, the way these metaverses are storing their data, and the way these metaverses, basically the infra of these metaverses differ. So some of the metaverse could actually be built on, let's say, Polygon. Some other is built on main Ethereum network. So these are like, are the challenges that we face. Basically, no standardization in the metaverse world. So, tomorrow, if you want to create your own metaverse, you do not have to follow a particular guideline that, hey, okay, I need to do this, and then I'm creating my metaverse. It's up to you. I mean, whatever comes to your mind, you can just put in and you build your metaverse. And that is the reason that these metaverses cannot talk to each other. So what we are doing is, we are building the bridge, which is more of a compatibility bridge, which
Mm-hmm.
are more of the standards. So basically, when think of it like this way. So basically, let's say you have a beautiful product, which is a beautiful financial product. You want to transfer maybe you want to integrate a payment gateway into your product. All you do is basically use those third party payment gateway APIs in your product to basically embed a service. So something similar to this, these metaverses can do. Basically, they can embed our APIs into their metaverses. And when they do that, they basically come down to our standard. And when they're coming to our standard, they become compatible with the other metaverses who are already onto our standard. And hence, communication or data exchange between these metaverses becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's like the basically the core technical stuff that we are doing. And obviously, I mean, this is something which is at a very high level. I'm telling now how we are doing it. There obviously are the technical team who is kind of working, and they are making sure that the APIs and SDKs are built smoothly so that these can be just plug and play APIs. Eventually, there are going to be subscription models. So basically, the metaverses can subscribe to our APIs. They come to our arcade standard. They become compatible with all the other metaverses, and their assets become liquid. They can just simply move their asset among all the metaverses which are there on Arcade Network platform.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what you're doing. You're becoming a common denominator. You're becoming a bridge that's, uniting the different standards because, yeah, you mentioned it. So it can be ERC, it can be Binance Smart Chain, it can be Polygon. I mean, and that's challenging. Like even us who are like, we're thinking of issuing NFTs for our next project, and it's not easy what to pick, like, and then you think about it. Okay, so which marketplace is the most kind of successful? Obviously, right now, the answer is, let's say, OpenSea. However, we all know that the problem is with it, like that the gas fees are over the roof. So people, on the one hand, there is a huge demand, but on the other hand, like it's only available to a certain segment of buyers. Like not the retail buyers can like sometimes cannot afford even to pay high gas fees. So that's why, to make it a global product, like what you're doing as a middleware, it's incredibly important. And I think later on, I'm sure you're going to build bridges not only with EVM compatible like chains, you're going to build it on Solana, Avalanche, like some other like chains that are there, and to make sure that all the marketplaces like will you standardize, you create your own standard that will be compatible with everyone else, and people will just care less about how it works in the back end. They will just apply your solution, right? I think that's the beauty of what you're doing. So let's talk about a little bit about your roadmap and about your plans. So what metaverses first you want to integrate? Maybe you already have some great use cases you can share.
Yep. I think eventually, as you mentioned, basically all the blockchains or, the other platforms, um, inculcating cross-platform support is what is going to be in our roadmap. So, in the roadmap, basically, we want to come out with a product wherein, people can basically export their assets among the metaverses. Now, these metaverses are going to be, so first iteration of the product is going to be supporting BSC, Polygon, and Ethereum, considering the fact that these blockchains already have the bridge with Ethereum blockchain. So, once we come out with this, we have plans of even taking it to cross-platform. There are other blockchains like Tezos, Solana, Avalanche, and I'm sure there would be other protocols, layer 2 protocols, which might be coming in. And are basically the next step would be to keep on integrating or keep on extending the support to other platforms. Now, there are certain other integrations in the product as well, which is apart, other than the blockchain technology. So the idea is not, we are more concerned about what we are building, about the product. So there are some machine learning integrations as well in the product to make it more seamless, to make things seamless, and to make the machine actually predict the nature of these assets when they're exported from one metaverse to another. And not everything has to be written in the contracts as we are doing it right now. And then eventually, there are concepts of basically coming out with something which is one of the feature of our product, which is called ArcadeNetwork, which allows you to create metaverses on the fly. That simply means it's like a metaverse as a service. In future, considering the fact that metaverses are gonna boom, there is some third-party service which can actually ease up building up your metaverses, is something that we feel is going to be the need of the future. And the team has already kind of started working on it, but eventually our plan is to roll out the bridge first and then moving to ArcadeNetwork. So yeah, I think pretty much these are the roadmaps, and eventually we want to just keep it very agile in an iterative approach, coming out with something, and then just keep on enhancing and extending the feature. And the beauty is that if you see, there are a lot of use cases that can be extended in the product. Even there could be marketplace that can be added into the product. We do not actually want to, we're not focusing on building any marketplace or any other metaverse, but then eventually by virtue of what we are building, a side product is going to be a marketplace, which eventually would be built up, once we are actually building in the product.
So for someone who, we know that your IDO is coming up, and again, it's not a financial advice, but people who want to support you, who actually appreciate what you do, how can you explain your revenue model? Like how do you make money? And maybe talk a little bit about this side of your business.
The product basically is focusing on metaverses. So the two types of users for the product are the metaverses and the gamers. And now these gamers can come to our platform. They see a wallet, which is a portfolio cum wallet, wherein they see all their assets that they purchase from different metaverses. So, for example, I had been to Vulcan Forged, I had been to, let's say, Sandbox, and I purchased different items there. Now, when I go to ArcadeNetwork, I see all the assets that I purchased from different metaverses over there under one roof. This is one of the feature of the product, which we call as note case or ARC note case. So a user basically can see all the assets that he collected or purchased, and he can literally export this asset from the existing metaverse to a destination metaverse. So when he does that, he pays an inter-metaverse fee, and now that fee is basically divided into two parts. So one part basically goes to the original asset creator metaverse, and the other part basically comes to the platform as platform fee. So this is something, wherein platform is gonna make money from. Although this is not, we're not gonna charge heavily to the gamers, considering the fact that we eventually want to reduce the cost. So the idea is that you do not need to purchase another asset in any other metaverse. You're using the same asset just by paying some additional cost, and hence we just want to reduce the overall cost. So this is one revenue source for the platform. Then the other is these metaverses are gonna subscribe to our APIs. So this is going to be a monthly subscription model for them. So there are gonna be subscription packages for them, and eventually when we are turning it into an exchange station or a marketplace, wherein the assets, basically I have the assets, I see other users as well on to the platform, I can lend my assets, I can there had been some integrations or already some partnerships that we have done with some of the NFT staking platforms, or one such platform is Nifty Pays, which allows you to basically which allows you to basically stake your NFTs or lend your NFTs. So the users who are actually coming to Arcade Network, they also have an option of doing all the DeFi activities with their NFTs. And so basically, the marketplace, which basically is gonna be which the platform is gonna provide, it is gonna have some commission, or I would say some platform fee, which actually is also one of the way when platform is making money.
So this fees I'm paying in your token, or let's say if I have a token and an NFT, right? And you're helping me to create an additional utility, like, for our metaverses. Obviously, I'm using your enterprise level SDKs or API. So what equivalent I will be paying to you in which token?
So we are actually gonna keep it open in all the other primary currencies, including USDT and ETH, and we are gonna keep it in our tokens as well. But the benefit, if they're paying it via our tokens, are definitely the discounts that they are gonna get if they use our tokens.
Okay, so that's the benefit of purchasing your token, and another utility of your token is a discount. Okay, amazing. So yeah. Listen, I'm sure people first of all, I encourage people to read your white paper. There is more details there. There's your plan, your vision is outlined there, and you have your team has an impressive background. You can see that people who are senior operators and they know exactly what they're doing, and I'm sure that with I know Chinka, who's working crazy hours, it's late night, or and crypto never sleeps, right? So this is something I just want to personally share. This is not just flattery. This is an honest opinion that I see with the people who are working really hard, and that's why I'm sure you're going to be successful, guys, just because of the fact how hard you work on the product. And I think the metaverse is definitely it's not the next big thing. It's already a thing. It's already happening. It was big before Facebook announced it. There's many other companies that are already invested billions of dollars in this. And now it's just kind of, we're coming to a next level of adoption. So I think your product is very timely, and the utility is there, the unique value proposition is there, and the features that you've mentioned that will help users, practically gamers and creators who are that I think is a beautiful way to interconnect everything into one holistic ecosystem that you're building. The last piece, that I would ask you, I have because the name of the show is Holistic Investments. I ask something that has nothing to do with the business, but it has to do with you specifically. So, and I never I never notify people about that. So that's it's a question about what is the meaning in life to you?
Money making, and fame and moving to successes. These are the things, everybody work for, and we like it as well. So my meaning of life is when I can actually, when people can come to me, and I can create values, and when I can create opportunities. That's it. When I'm creating something valuable for anybody, that gives me my peace of mind, and that's why I live. So I think that's it. That's the meaning of life for me. All these things, the other things are like the side products or the byproducts. So I mean, eventually, I don't know. I mean, that's something with me, that I just, whatever I'm doing, I think it should create some utility, some value in the ecosystem. Yeah, that's it.
No, it's beautiful. I think, that's why I love this question, because it's kind of out of the blue on the one hand, but that's why people usually reply very sincerely. And what you replied in terms of creating value, I think it's really beautiful, because I believe the same. Like when you're helping others and you sincerely want others to succeed and to improve their life, as you mentioned, make any product faster, cheaper, more user-friendly, and help the systems to work together, that's when you're valuable to the society. And that's I believe what we should do. And money and fame or whatever it comes as a byproduct, that helps you to even do it more efficiently. That's all. So I think with such mindset, you're definitely going to be successful, and you are successful already, but you're going to be even more successful. And I wish sincerely that all of your team that is working hard, crazy hours, that you will launch successfully, and that your product will reach millions of users, and that big enterprise level players will adopt it. And obviously, we're just honored to be part of it.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Konstantin.
Thank you so much for being here. And so please follow Arcade Network channel, like Telegram channel, all the other social media. I will share it in the description. Share their website, read their white paper, make sure you sign up, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy the journey of this amazing project. Thank you so much, Chinka, and I wish you a great day.
Thank you.